can see both sides now. The toss has been done, and Todd Viney won the toss for Melbourne, and the Demons are kicking down towards the Legend stand, so towards the Robert Heatley stand. We'll see James Cook, who's lining up for his 50th game today. We won't be able to miss him because he's got the golden hair. And there's our first umpire today, Grant Vernon, number 2 from Western Australia. Another youngster, Scott McLaren, is number 11, but that's Brian Sheehan on screen, of course, one of the most experienced umpires, and number 11, Scott McLaren. Field umpires for today. This year, they haven't really been in the news. It's been the goal umpires who have been in the news right throughout the season. We'll see Scotty Wine at the centre bounce there, along with Brad Johnson and Stephen Collingwood. Todd Viney's been magnificent this year. Jeff White last week jumped right over the top of the West Coast ruckman in Gardner, and also Jason Ball. And already we can see Peter and Robbo a bit of pushing and shoving between Shanahan and Cook, and now they shake hands.
At a very crowded goal square down there. And look, here's, I mentioned Paul Hopgood. He plays close, and Dent, two tough little, well, not so little Dent.
There's going to be some interesting situations early in this game, I would say, Peter and Kevin. And a beautiful sunny day, a bit of breeze blowing across the ground, perhaps favouring the left-hand end of screen. And the bounce in the centre, it's a tight, oh, there's a few going in hard there. Dimatina over the top, and he may have infringed, he has. And umpire Brian Sheehan has awarded the free kick to the Demons. It's a hand pass, and they get away from the middle of the ground. The kick forward came from McDonald out wide. Chance now for Viney to get the first score. The little kick by Todd Viney to the front of the goals. Trying to swoop on it is Tingay. In hard again was Dimatina. It's gathered here by Montgomery for the Bulldogs, and his kick is good, and he finds on centre wing Todd Curley over the top. Running support provided by Collingwood. Collingwood's kick is good, and he finds Hudson at right half forward.
So Paul Hudson on the left. It's a bit of a wobbly one up in the direction of Cook against Shanahan. Well taken by Seacamp. Good football. They've got the loose man here out at half back. This is Jeffrey White. Now he can chip it here, and it's a little bit wide. Oh, racing after Viney. Was he held? West, he's trying to get the free kick. Probably good umpiring there. That might have been high. Oh, holding the ball. Maybe the arm slipped down. It looked a little bit high by Big Wine, and certainly Todd Viney thought it was too high as he indicated to the umpire. The ball at half forward. Colin Hook belts it out. Here's Gergich. Very good player, young Gergich. On to Viney. Here's Leoncelli. Centre wing, he'll belt it down to the half-forward line. Or the Melbourne player slipped over down there, Gary Lyon. Credihook dives on, will be a bounce 40 metres out from the Melbourne goal. No, it won't. Play on, he's calling.
So a loose ball on the half-forward flank. Brad Weir comes away. Handball's straight back over the line. And a free kick is going to be paid. The whistle is gone. And it's going to Footscray. Make that the Western Bulldogs. Old habits die hard. Brad Weir comes away and transfers the play wide. Finds Todd Curley. So he's got time for think music. Gets support as well. Good play by Tingay as Dent thumps the ball back towards the half-forward line. He's looking for Chris Grant. Goes to ground. At the back of the pack, Woden from the half-back flank. Pinpointed Jeff White, so athletic, has marked on centre wing. Magnificent last week against the West Coast Eagles. And has been added to the Victorian squad. Jeff White. So much resting on his young shoulders to Hopgood. Back in the side today, back to Shane Woden. And the Demons into attack. Caught from behind. Credihook got his hands up. Here's the Wizard. Farmer can bounce through for one behind. So first score to Melbourne on the board by Jeff Farmer.
And Gary Lyon, by the way, Robbo was giving Farmer a serve there for not handball.
Yeah, well, it appeared as though he broke into the open, and his only thought was, I must kick a goal. And usually good vision shown by AFL players of today's ilk have a bit of a look around, and missing. It may have been a bad miss in the finish. Dent's kick in has been well marked out there by Garlick. Garlick is between back pocket and left half-back flank, still in his defensive 50-metre area. Now he kicks it out wide to the wing, and trying to take the chest mark there was Chris Grant. Onto it as West, then Wind, out wide to Grant. Grant back onto the right. No, he decides on the hand pass. Gets it to Johnson, who loves to carry the ball. He kicks it into the pocket. It goes past Minton Connell. His opponent at this stage is Seacamp, and the ball spills for a boundary throw in about 40 to 45 metres around from the Bulldog goal. Good crowd in here, and again, The legend stand at the left-hand end of screen. Well, there's some plenty of room in there. The crowd packed into every other part of this ground at Optus Oval for the Western Bulldogs home game. Ball at half forward for the Bulldogs. Garlick does reasonably well just to lock it up there, and the umpire will call for a bounce.
It's a long way out from the Bulldogs' goal. The only score so far has been by Melbourne. Behind to Jeffrey Farm. Expected maximum today 13. A beautiful day for football. A light breeze. A little bit cloudy, but certainly players couldn't complain about these conditions. There's White winning it again. Todd Viney. That's almost holding the ball here. Umpire calling play on now. Is that hot too high? No. Well, Grant Vernon again. That arm was around his neck, but maybe the initial tackle wasn't. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this one now. Oh, well, it certainly ended up around his neck. Now there's Wine flipping it over the back lines. Give it off to Johnson, who snaps a goal off hands, Shanahan's hands, in fact, and it bounces over the line for a behind to the Bulldogs. So scores a level.
And Brad Johnson on screen has been such a good player for the Bulldogs this year. It's one of their young guns. They go short and find Todd Viney. He is the spirit of Melbourne. So Melbourne running the ball out of defence. Leoncelli from Olzab's caught. Great tackle by Montgomery.
Going back to push back before that, Jeff.
So the ball has come back to Phoebe, who goes short, doesn't really hit a target under pressure. Feed the ball off to Shanahan. A welcome addition back into the side. Seacamp on the edge of the centre square. Kicks down towards centre half forward. The sun in the eyes of several players. Great play by McDonald. Tries to set up. Handball didn't quite hit his target. Pushed off the ball. So coming away was Robertson. Kicked 4 goals last week. Important player playing across centre half forward. They chip it in looking for Croft. So again, a loose ball on centre wing. Rocketed forward by Woden, who does well. Runs on hard.
Well
the Demons.
done. Very well played.
75 metres out. The kick's a poor one. Lands in the arms of Curley under pressure. Run down by the Wizard. He's got him. He's paid advantage to the Bulldogs. Dimartina's pounced on it. Thumps the ball back towards centre half forward. Grant comes out and marks in front of Ingerson. So lucks of fortune for the Western Bulldogs. Tries to find James Cook. Great hands. Great pickup. Wonderful tackle as well by McDonald. And at long last, the Demons get a free kick for a very good tackle.
Oh dear, I'd hate to be a football supporter and try to follow the consistency of some of these umpiring decisions. I saw one last night which was exactly the same as the one just down here in front of us before, and it was paid the other way, and then you've got an umpire today who decides that it's an advantage free kick to the other player. Just unbelievable stuff. Robertson tries to crash his way through. He's a strong player and he does well. Kick forward by Leoncelli. It'll land at half forward. Well done, Gary Lyon. The experienced campaigner goes for goal. Missed everything. So he'd be disappointed, Gary Lyon. He's a better player than that. And the first decent attempt at goal by Melbourne. Well, I suppose Jeff Farmer's shot at goal was a clear shot. He missed, but Lyon misses everything, and the free kick will be taken by Wirra in the left back pocket for the Bulldogs. He kicks it outside the defensive 50. It goes wide, bounces, gathered here by McDonald, around onto his left, and he kicks it nicely in towards centre half forward, standing his ground and taking a good mark as Collingham. Well done, Steve Collingham, on the front cover of the Football Record today. Johnson bursts away from the centre, kicks it out wide. Chance here for Minton Connolly, gathers nicely, back onto his right. Well smothered, that kick off the boot by Seacamp. Knocked forward again. This is Dimartina to the front of the goals. Disciplined play by the Bulldogs. It goes to the back. Grant gets rid of his opponent. At this time it is Ingerson. Hudson's going to kick a goal for the Bulldogs. No, his kick smothered off the boot by Julius, and desperate stuff. Matthew Phoebe in there for Melbourne. And it's locked up only 15 metres from the Bulldogs' goal.
Well, there's no doubt, Robbo, the smothering of the players today, the tackling, look at that. As Hudson was racing in for as you thought it was going to be a certain goal, so deep in that forward pocket, it's out of bounds, but the smothering and tackling of modern-day footballers is outstanding. Of course, they practice it and they work at it, sometimes 5 days a week. So forward pocket for the Bulldogs, Wine, and the big fella for Melbourne there, Jeffrey White, with the big leap. He's caught behind here. Wine tried to grab it. Tapped further afield by Elvey, the youngster. Johnson dives on top, and the umpire will come in and bounce it. About 40 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal. Scores are a level or behind a piece, so goals at a premium at the moment. Again, it'll be Scott Wine to take on Jeffrey White. Wine with his bulk did it pretty well. Here's Johnson, just a little toe poke kick. Kicked away by Anthony McDonald out towards centre wing where Liam Challey is happy. It's a relayed free kick, actually. So it'll be taken by Andrew Liam Challey. Centre wing. Mark to Wirra. Good, strong mark.
So Brad Wirra has really found his niche with the Bulldogs. Just that one game with the Fremantle Dockers. Collingwood, 150 games under his belt, down towards inside 50, out in front. Minton Connell couldn't take it. Alvey, quick snap by the youngster from Wentworth in New South Wales. From Bendigo under 18s. Just finding his feet in this great game.
There is a strong breeze blowing over that far side of the ground, and it probably is just favouring Melbourne in this first quarter, Kevin.
And Jamie Shanahan on screen, 137 AFL games. He's played the most games of AFL football without kicking a goal of present-day players. And there's Jeff White. Does it so well, that big leap from halfback. Goes short. The Demons set it up. Marked by Liam Challey. Third in their best and fairest last year. Just played the 12 games. Kicks down towards the half-forward line. Crediuk sets himself, and over the back is Rowan Smith. So the Bulldogs trying to get some run out of defence. It's one behind a piece. Goals certainly hard to get. Hudson kicks down towards the half-forward line, running with a fly to the ball. It's a great kick. Garlick didn't have to break stride. The lead is on. He was looking for James Cook. Great interception again. Tremendous play by Phoebe. Dimatina won't get there, and they'll toss the ball back on centre wing. Paul Dimatina along with Scotty West. A big job today. No Tony Liberatore or Jose Ramiro. The midfield strength of the Bulldogs has certainly been weakened. Wine beaten this time by White at ground level. Does well. Has the ball smothered. Picked up by Tingay. Kicks hurriedly back towards the half-forward line. Pushed under the ball was Farmer. Wirra's got the big job today. Gary Lyon goes back towards centre half forward. Robinson came out hard. McDonald was there as well. At ground level again. Under pressure. The Bulldogs force the ball. Marked by Viney inside the centre square.
Yes, Todd Viney's doing well. About 6 possessions already. His short pass has been marked by Robertson. Robertson I saw earlier in the year in the Ansett Cup game in New Zealand, and he was very good, Russell Robertson, and we read an article in the paper during the week that he has strived very hard to make a bit of a career in AFL football, and with a bit of good fortune, it just may go on now. He's shooting from about 50 metres. Won't get the distance, it'll drop in short, and Scotty Wine getting back to help out the defenders. West has been tackled, taken away by Crediuk to Dimatina, back to Crediuk. Crediuk with a little bit of time to steady, but there's no one to kick to, so he's going to have to bomb away, and if the ball drops short, which it does, nearly Woden, but in the finish, Garlick not paid. Curley, strong at the footy, White, helped out now by Liam Challey, in towards the middle, Viney, in turn goes wide. This is McDonald. McDonald from about 50 has kicked the first goal of the game. Good kick. Anthony McDonald, that is, who has kicked the goal. Of course, his brother James wearing the Guernsey number 23. But number 35 for the Demons, the first goal kicker of the game.
Terrific play that, as you see. I thought that for a moment they're going to overdo the hand passes. You see Liam Challey giving it to Viney. Then further field to McDonald, but he is a beautiful kick on that left from outside 50 and bombed away. And I agree with you, Robert, probably a slight wind advantage to left of screen. So back to the centre. Good start to Melbourne. They're certainly looking as though they're going to be extremely competitive. They lead by 6 points. Oh, Hopgood went without it. Big Wine tried to crash his way through. Here's the racehorse, Johnson, running inside 50. A low trajectory kick is a poor one, and a good mark taken by Marcus Seecamp.
So Marcus Seecamp did such a good job last week against Fraser Geary. He's very quick. Again, kicks wide. Jeff White's the target. Impressive young player. Again, Liam Challey marks. Possession number 7.
Playing on Scotty West by the look of it.
Kicks back towards where Chris Grant now makes ground and does very, very well. So the Bulldogs pushing their forward line back into defence. Grant playing at centre-half forward, gets the ball back to Dent. Kicks the ball back towards the half-forward line because Chris Grant is not there. Ingerson is his opponent. Gets plenty of support from Gurgic. So this young Melbourne side, surprise winners last week, showing some good form. There's interference there to Chris Grant against Todd Viney. And the champ will take it. So a transfer of play goes wide, looking for Dimatina. Too much carry on the ball. Gets support from Rowan Smith. Great chasing by Rigoni. Dimatina rockets the ball back to Smith. So working in numbers across half-back, back to Dimatina. The Bulldogs do it well. Kicks a low trajectory kick towards the boundary line. Too much carry on the ball once more in front of Paul Hudson, and they'll toss it back in.
When Chris Grant had the ball across half-back, going to that far side of the ground, kicking to the Robert Heatley stand in, I wonder whether that's such a good move, because that's certainly the defensive side of the ground. If he'd have come straight down towards centre-half forward, there might have been a chance to get a goal out of it.
Particularly when he kicked it behind Dimatina. Scott West, the tackler, and they'll ball it up.
Melbourne will have to do something about that. When the Bulldogs taller players get back across half-back, they've been finding them, the Melbourne players, with those long kicks. They'd be better off going a little bit shorter, I think, Kev.
So Scott Wine and Jeff White, they'll be battling at it all day. Garlick in hot pursuit, but the ball beats him over the line. So they'll toss it back in. Melbourne 1-1-7, lead the Bulldogs 1 behind. Simon Garlick on screen. Came across from Sydney, played in their grand final side back in 1996 and has been an important pickup by the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs at the moment yet to use their interchange bench. Darcy, Martin, Southern and Nathan Brown started on the bench and are still there. Dimatina with the football. Little left foot kick by Dimatina. He's close to the line. It bounces just inside and over for a boundary throw-in. Paul Dimatina has had a fair touch of the footy. He's had 7 touches so far in this first quarter. It's just outside 50 metres, favouring the Bulldogs. Melbourne lead by a goal. That's the goal kicked by Anthony McDonald. Leon Chelly over his left shoulder, just got too much carry on it, and it's over on the full, so the free kick will be taken out there for the Bulldogs. Now the umpire just being a little pedantic. He's bringing the Melbourne player on the mark back about 10 metres, so it'll have to be done all over again, and it is Dent to kick the Bulldogs to within scoring distance. Minton Connell takes a little bit of a dive. Uze and Montgomery, great bump by Chris Grant, but he's hemmed in by Gurgic, and it's forced for a throw-in. It's only about 30 metres around from the Bulldog goal, so Melbourne defending desperately. They only lead by a goal, a very, very low scoring first term. Tingay runs away from Kolonyuk. Good kick by Stephen Tingay. Gets great distance in the area of Robertson. Crediuk now taken away for Melbourne by James McDonald. This is Croft. Croft to the middle. Curley's got the footy.
The Bulldogs, this is what they do well. Johnson out to the half-forward line. Hudson waits for the bounce. He's trying to get around onto the left foot now. He's bringing an ordinary kick inside. White couldn't quite control it. This is Curley. Oh, Melbourne need tacking in numbers here. This is good play by Woden. White, they're going to get away with it with Matthew Phoebe. That is a very clever kick to Viney, because he was on his opposite foot. Now, Viney will hand pass here. Tingay, fantastic play. Comes down centre wing. He'll have to get onto the left foot here. Oh, beautiful left foot kick, centering the ball. They need someone to take a mark, but the big fist of the Bulldogs come flying over the back. I think it was Dink to thump it over the line.
Kolonyuk on Tingay, and Kolonyuk then just giving Stephen Tingay too much latitude.
So a chance for the Demons, just 25 metres around from goal. Scotty Wine takes the front position, too tall for Gary Lyon. Smith feeds the ball out to West on that trusty left boot, kicks the ball well. It's a beautiful kick and finds Montgomery. He's on the half-back flank. The Bulldogs trail 1-1-7 to 1 behind. So Melbourne very spirited in this opening term. They've only met 3 times at Optus Oval, and the Bulldogs have won on every occasion. They won both contests last year. West once more goes to the ground. Good play by Rigoni. McDonald goes over the top. Ferocious at the ball, the Demons, and they'll ball it up on 50.
Just goes to show you with Guy Rigoni, the desperation that he shows, that there must be lots of players out there that could play league footy if they have the right attitude. That boy was playing football in Myrtleford last year.
And originally rejected from Hawthorn. Johnson gets the ball back to Elvey, just a youngster. Here's a chance for Cook. The golden boy in front has it thumped away time by Shanahan. He's hard to beat. Hudson's kicked 34 goals this year under pressure. Cook, wild hand pass. Lands in the arms of Woden. So the Demons, a chance across half-back, trying to set it up. Woden, looking for his options, decides to kick to a one-on-one contest, pushing and shoving. Dent, too strong from behind, feeds the ball back off. Rowan Smith from the half-back line, kicks deep into the forward line. Coming out is Minton Connell, and he's got it.
Good kick too, wasn't it?
The two-pronged attack, Minton Connell, Peter, and James Cook.
Well, history says it doesn't work. I watched it last week, and because they played against the Saints. But look at this kick in here by Rowan Smith, the low trajectory kick. And Jeff White underneath it. He read it well, Simon Minton Connell. But they are two fairly different types of players. Cook relies on his marking, whereas Minton Connell on his leading.
Well, he's going for his 300th goal in AFL football. Simon Minton Connell started his career on this ground with Carlton directly in front. He's got it.
Well, they both have milestones now, Kilburn. Minton Connell with 300 goals and James Cook with his 50th goal.
Well, it's going to be pretty important to see whether they can play together as two focal points up forward. I know Richmond tried it way back with Michael Roach and Brian Taylor. Wasn't successful, though. They practiced it in the reserves. They both kicked 8 goals for successive weeks. I think that convinced Terry Wallace to give it a crack in the seniors.
Well, I guess if you drop your guard, either one of them can sneak up on you and get a bag of goals, whether it be seniors or reserves. So let's hope they can keep up the good work. Scores a level here with 4 minutes left in the first term. Jeff White, what a great leap. Just tied up there is Woden by Scotty Wine, and the umpire will bounce once again. Into time on in the first quarter. Scotty Wine gets the ball to the back. Elvey, McDonald. Now kicked forward by Rigoni. Oh, a very awkward bounce. It certainly favours here Robertson. Snapshot for goal by Robertson. He's put it through. So Russell Robertson gets his first goal of the match. And Melbourne get their second. They're back to a 6-point advantage, are the Demons.
Well, I think there's a lot of luck in this one, Kevin. Have a look at this bounce. Oh, poor old Curly. He did the right thing and attacked the ball, and Robertson waited back, fell into his arms, and a left foot kick, and he's very happy about that. But the most important thing, he did capitalise on that mistake.
Well, it's good to see the confidence still there for Robinson. 4 goals last week. He'd only kicked 3 goals in his previous game. So coming to this game with 7 goals and a goal early in this first quarter is, well, great for his confidence.
6 points the margin as we're back in the centre. Hudson swooping on it. Slick hand pass. Dimatina just outside 50. Centres the ball intelligently. No mark down there to Minton Connell. Strong tackle by Seacamp. The Bulldogs working hard. A quick kick towards goal. Socket off the ground by Johnson for a goal. Well, a quick reply by the Western Bulldogs, and Brad Johnson's delighted. Scores a level.
Collinwood very good in this passage of play. Just got his foot to the ball as it came in from Dimatina. This was nearly a mark to Minton Connell. Not quite. Montgomery, Minton Connell and Collinwood. Watch Collinwood just get this little kick out into the path of Johnson, and that made the difference by the fact that Johnson could run straight at goal.
And that was the 15th goal for the season to Brad Johnson. Scores a level. Just under 3 minutes of action left in this first term. Now umpire Brian Sheen.
Bit of a blood rule out to right here. Now forward flank. Seacamp.
Marcus Seacamp coming from the field. From the Fitzroy player.
Decent old gash on the cheek there.
And coming on for Melbourne is Mark Bradley. He did some nice things also in the last quarter against the West Coast Eagles.
Gergich has gone down. onto Minton Connell. With Seacamp off the ground.
So Stephen Crediuk will pick up Mark Bradley. And you see the size difference there. But Crediuk, one of the best players in the competition, and play on the small players and the tall players. There's White, went up early, thought he may have given away the free kick. Todd Viney, always good in the clinches, around the corner, back towards the half-forward line, thumped away by Croft at ground level. Tingay, desperate, does well, feeds the ball back off to McDonald. Here come the Demons, deep into the forward line. Here's Bradley on the ground, got a push in the back.
That'll be interesting if we see that again, whether he actually tripped or was pushed in the back. I reckon there was a fine line. I reckon that's what Stephen Crediuk is saying. Let's have a look.
Well, if you stumble and still interfere...
Oh, a little bit soft, I reckon. What did you think, Robbo?
Well, I suppose, you know...
Probably a little nudge.
In the middle of the ground, the players are asked to commit kamikaze tactics to try and get a free kick, and when a bloke gets a deliberate shot at goal like this as a result of a pretty dubious free kick, you wonder about it.
So straight off the interchange bench, Bradley from 45 metres out drills a goal.
First goal to Mark Bradley, and he's only been on the ground for, well, if I said 2 minutes, I'd be exaggerating, wouldn't I?
35 seconds.
It was incredible, wasn't
He's
it?
a good size of a bloke, Robbo.
Big fella, yeah, big fella. Yep.
Tall and lean.
And it was Marcus Seacamp coming off through the blood rule as we have a look at Crediuk, maybe into the back there of Bradley. It did look a bit of a worry though, didn't it? So Melbourne, you can see there just over 2 minutes left in the first quarter. The Demons lead by a goal. That goal kicked by Mark Bradley. Seacamp, the blood rule off the ground. Bradley on, and he's got a goal. Tingay, caught, kicked forward by Alvey. Lands at centre half forward. Now the pressure on Uze, but he's got some help here from Matthew Phoebe. Terrific, strong play by Matthew Phoebe. Gets the ball to half forward. Now a chance for Farmer. He spins away from Dent and then went after it again. Confronted, but the ball spills to Tingay. Tingay's little left foot kick towards full forward. Comes to the back. Gathered by Crediuk, out wide. He'll find Johnson. Johnson for the Western Bulldogs. On centre wing. Oh, Dimatina!
Umpire.
Oh, we're watching, are we watching?
Come on, umpire. I think the umpire saw it too, Robbo.
Well, there's three of them there, and down goes a Bulldog. Todd Viney. And if the umpire had picked up what happened to Tingay earlier, maybe there wouldn't have been that. The ball at half forward for the Bulldogs. Montgomery shot for goal has missed, and both supporters have got reason to boo.
Well, it was definitely illegal off the ball. And I don't know how the umpire didn't see that and didn't pay it. In fact, I think he did see it and ignored it. Anyway, suppose we can't prejudge what the umpire saw. Stephen Phoebe. Anyway, he's up and about Tingay. He looks a bit sick and sorry, though. Stephen Phoebe, he's kicked to a 1-on-2 situation, but it floats over the back. Todd Viney having a sensational first term. Brings it down to the half-forward line, looking for Robertson. He kept that in. Good play by young Robertson. And the umpire will come in and bounce way out there on the half-forward line.
And the strong leadership of Viney when one of his players went down. Just a few moments later, bang.
He's a tough boy, Todd Viney.
Do you ever ask the question if there's three central umpires, two boundary umpires, two goalies, nobody can see anything like that?
Well, you wonder, don't you? Because a fair bit behind the play. The bounce way up on centre wing, or almost towards half-forward line. There's Gary Lyon caught with the ball. Will be another bounce, but this is a good, even contest, this.
Melbourne by 5 points, Gary Lyon. Just having a couple of words there with Grant Vernon. Dimatina has left the field. And now he's back on. He was very quick change. So maybe a word from the coach. Scotty West gives the ball across to Curley. Breaks the tackle. Rockets the hand pass wide to Hudson. He's going to run to the point of the square. Wants to draw a player. Hudson, been a big goal kicker this year. 34 for the season. Back to Collingwood. Just inside 50. Wobbles the ball back into the forward pocket. Minton Connell disappointed. They just didn't quite make the right decision. They were in two minds whether to kick the ball or whether to draw an opponent. And in the end, the kick was a poor one. So a boundary throw in. A chance for the Bulldogs. Just 8 seconds left. Cook pushing and shoving with Shanahan. Gets his fist to the ball and thumps it. Alvey has to backtrack. Cook wants it at centre half for as the siren sounds to end a very tough and entertaining first term, with Dimatina putting down Tingay and then Todd Viney putting down Paul Dimatina. And there's Stephen Tingay on screen. He's recovered, but it was a pretty good bump.
Well, the tackling and the ferociousness at the ball during that term was terrific. And there's Scott Wine talking to the umpire. I don't know what he would be talking about. Something to do with the ruck contest, I would think. And Neil Danner, I think, Robbo would be pretty pleased with that first term by the Demons.
Well, we'll only find out after they've each side has had some use of the breeze advantage, and we'll know that certainly in the second quarter. But at quarter time, Melbourne lead by 5 points. They're 3-1-19. The Bulldogs are 2-2-14.
Back in the action here at the start of the second term at Optus Oval. 3-1-19 Melbourne, the Bulldogs 2-2-14. And they pile on top, still inside the centre square, and they'll ball it up. So goal kickers for the Western Bulldogs in that first quarter. Simon Minton-Connell, that was his 300th goal in AFL football, and Brad Johnson. And for Melbourne, goals to Russell Robinson, Anthony McDonald and Mark Bradley, who came straight off the interchange bench and straight away kicked the goal. So a chance here. Rowan Smith gets the ball wide to Crediuk, back to Dent. So the Bulldogs defence worked the ball out towards the half-forward line, kicked the ball long down towards where it was, couldn't take the ball. Phoebe was there as well. Uze tries to find Tingay. Too much, again, carry on the ball. Driven in the ground was Matthew Phoebe. Kicked off the ground, Jeff White. Great tackle that time by Scotty Wine. Hudson under pressure. Wild hand pass back to Shane Woden, who kicks a high ball back towards the half-forward flank on the outer side of the ground. And Dent is happy to see the ball trickle over the line. There's Russell Robinson on screen. He's already kicked a goal in this game in the first quarter.
Yes, the Demons lead by 5 points, and the boundary throw in left half forward for Melbourne. The ball comes down to Dimatina, and with just scintillating pace, he runs away, and after 2 bounces, he has a third. No one will go and tackle him. And then he kicks the ball in towards full forward, punched away by Durbridge. And a good disciplined performance by the young defender.
He's very cool, isn't he? He seems to lope after his opponent. He's one of the coolest players I've seen for a young player come into AFL football.
Held in high regard by the Demons. The ball knocked away from that boundary throw-in. Dimatina gives away a little bit of meterage. Dent can't shrug the tackle. Spills now to Stephen Phoebe. His scrambly old kick. Robertson swoops on the loose ball, gets back onto his right, then kicks a weighted kick to Lyon. Handball back. Looked for Jeffrey Farmer. He's tackled the player just a little high, maybe Rowan Smith, and Rowan Smith will take it in the back pocket, right back pocket for the Bulldogs. It's about 35 to 40 metres from the Melbourne goal.
Yes, this dashing play. Oh, I think he's put it out in the full here. Yes, he has. Paul Dimatina, who is one of the great improvers in the AFL, just got his hand to it, but over the line. And this is Anthony McDonald, and he's an improver in the game too.
11 touches to Dimatina, Peter.
Yes, he's been a good player, and there's been some good midfielders. Todd Viney for Melbourne, Brad Johnson for the Bulldogs. Here's some pushing and shoving. Oh, Robertson went far too early. Here's Brad Wirra, should head for the boundary line. He does, and is forced over the line in that forward pocket area, about 20 metres around from the Melbourne goal.
And he's doing a very good job on Jeff Farmer. He's just had the 1 kick in the game so far.
So Bradley, number 40, to take on Scotty Wine. He's caught, gets in a hand pass. Here's McDonald. West has been pretty quiet. McDonald again in after it. Farmer was there also. Melbourne trying to force it closer towards goal. Gary Lyon now. I don't think there was much in there. I hope the umpire doesn't play a free kick against Bradley here. Brian Sheen's pretty experienced.
I reckon, Peter, this all comes back to the incidents at the late part of that first term. Players' tempers flare a little.
And you watch this, there's nothing, just a bit of a push. And Scotty West dived back. Well, that is good umpiring by Brian Sheen, not to fall for that. Forward pocket. Bradley again tried to hit it with the left hand. Around the corner is McDonald. That is James McDonald, and he has crossed the face and out of bounds on the opposite side. So still deep in the Melbourne forward line.
And James McDonald, along with his brother Anthony, his brother Alex McDonald, plays with Collingwood. So 3 sons playing AFL football. Punched from behind by Bradley at ground level. Croft some fancy footwork, gets around Robinson, goes short and finds Hudson. He's a long way from the half-forward flank. He's at the half-back line. Kicks the ball out in front. He was looking for Curley, running with the flight of the ball. Has to try and get around, and he was caught without the ball, and he'll take the free kick.
I think that was a professional free kick.
Played that well, he did, Curley.
So Curley from inside the centre square. It's a floater. Hits 50. Getting a bad bounce was Minton Connell, taken by Gurgic. They feed the ball off well. Ingerson got the ball back to Woden, back to Matthew Phoebe, stands and delivers, kicks a long bomb back towards centre half forward. Scotty Wines back there, built to wall well. The whistle's gone. And again, the free kick will go to Todd Curley. So both forward lines are finding it hard to score. Curley also a much improved player. Didn't quite make it with Collingwood, but has been a regular now with the Bulldogs.
Scotty Rind has run 80 metres to make a target for him.
And he is the target, and he's got the mark.
Kevin, he was back there where the free kick was awarded to Todd Curley. He's run all the way down here to provide a target.
Really kicks the ball, gives it across to Elvey. The kick's a shocker. Regoni got a hand to it. Johnson caught. Good tackle, chance for Minton Connell. Tried to feed the ball off to Hudson, didn't quite take it. Uze pinched it, goes short and finds Viney. Feeds the ball off, and again, Matthew Phoebe out of defence, so the Demons into attack.
And Matthew Phoebe's kick will land at half forward, but at the back, Curley to tidy up for the Western Bulldogs. Comes right across the ground. Scott Winder's out here, and the bounce is a little awkward for the big fellow. And he's beaten for it on this occasion by the much tinier Jeffrey Farmer. The handball, and he's ridden into the ground, Stephen Phoebe. Must get a free kick, is it? Or is it Robertson that may be the recipient of it? It might be Robertson. Surely it's got to go to Melbourne. It must go to Melbourne. Well, it was a blatant push in the back.
I don't know what the confusion was.
Robertson's kick into the pocket, up over the top of Grant. Credihook now with Gary Lyon, chipping in his dent across the defending goal, and he runs and then delivers wide. Hudson's out there and takes the ball nicely in front of his face. Then the kick into the path of Smith. Not able to take the mark, Rowan Smith. Kicked away by McDonald. Woden streaming onto it, Montgomery. Back goes McDonald to Uze, and Uze down the ground. He kicks into the pocket. The mark is taken by Tingay. He's probably at left half forward. 2 kicks from goal, Stephen Tingay, and he'll put the Bulldogs' defence under a bit of pressure here.
Well, they've got to do something all down on their forward line. They're falling down badly, deep in that forward zone. As it's taken away by Croft. I'm talking about Melbourne falling down up there. They're getting plenty of the ball. His dent just shoves away his opponent, then drives it to the centre of the ground. That's a good, strong mark by Rowan Smith, and off he goes. This looks dangerous because Dibertina's got a low trajectory kick. Touch play on now, calls the umpire. Shanahan is there. He's backed up there by Matthew Phoebe. Ingerson will drive it out wide. Melbourne have got the numbers. Here's Steve Phoebe. Now Gurgic, that's holding the ball. Gotta be. It was a poor hand pass because he was covered. It'll be another kick here to Dibertina. He plays on. As we see the replay, now what is happening? It's coming back to the umpire. Is he going to bounce? It's a blood rule.
Flat ball, is it? The ball's gone.
Is it the ball?
Flat.
It could be the ball, but it should have been surely a Bulldogs kick. Maybe. Let's see what happened. A hand pass, then caught. That's holding the ball. And the umpire saying holding the ball. So probably the ball's flat, and then they'll bring the new ball out, and it's got to be a free kick to the Bulldogs. Now, if it's not, I will be totally amazed because he paid holding the ball.
We'll soon know. It doesn't look as though he's going to give a free kick, does it?
It's got to be. Yes. So, well, I thought... Well, here's Colin Hook receiving from Dibertina. He drives it out wide, and the mark has been taken out here by Montgomery.
And Paul Dibertina has certainly been a star. 13 possessions. Montgomery kicks the ball back towards the true centre half forward position. Jeff White reads it well. And again, across half back. Both half back lines doing well. With the Demons trying to force the ball forward. Taken by McDonald. Gets plenty of support from Matthew Phoebe. Wants to kick the ball down towards centre half forward. Croft came out in front. The high flyer was Bradley. Croft does well on the second attempt. Back to Curley. Again, both defences working overtime. Crediuk under pressure, thumps the ball back. Looked like could have been a push out to Albie, not paid. Onto the scene first is Matthew Phoebe. Throws the ball back to his brother, just shovel the ball out. Ingerson goes to ground. They pile on top, and they'll ball it up on centre wing. 3-1-19 Melbourne. Western Bulldogs 2-2-14. So the Demons by 5 points. Ingerson playing a big role on Chris Grant. Hasn't had a great influence on the game so far. Just the 4 possessions. Scotty West, just 4 possessions as well. And the whistle is gone. And down, there's West. Maybe a little bit frustrated.
Well, Todd Viney's making his presence felt.
Hasn't been able to really get into the game just yet.
He's a tough character, isn't he?
He's
Viney?
one of the toughest, I reckon, pound for pound.
So Colinook from the half-back flank. Kicks the ball long. He's looking for Chris Grant. Out came Shanahan, beaten by Minton Connell. Tries to find his target. Intercepting that was McDonald. Coming through hard is Rowan Smith with great pace. 35 metres out, straight across the face of goals. And put it through for a minor score.
Well, fair build up there by the Bulldogs. Rowan Smith shouting instructions. Marcus Seecamp with a patch on that little gash that he had underneath his right eye. He came off the ground through the blood rule. That looks like Gary Hardiman.
Well, what a great player. I played on him a few times, Robbo. He was a fantastic half-back flanker, come centre-back, come everything.
Finished second in the 1974 Brownlow medal.
State player.
Melbourne under pressure, trying to clear that half-back line, and the umpire will bounce.
Left Melbourne at a very early age. Gary Hardiman, in fact, went across to South Australia and played there for quite a few years, then came back to Melbourne. There he is on screen.
Good on you, Gary.
He looks
great to see you
play, Robbo.
Yeah, it's great to see him involved and trying to help his Demons. Jeff White from half-back, a thumping punt kick, gets to half-forward, gathered by Southern, who's now on the ground, and good to see. Todd Curley, look away hand pass. Wirra, short, into the middle of the ground. Johnson, who loves to carry the football, he has one bounce, steadies, and then kicks high in towards centre half-forward. Demon defenders punch it away. Gathered here by Garlick, confronted there by Jeff White and McDonald. Kick forward for the Bulldogs, in towards their left forward pocket area. Rowan Smith's driving. Woden does well and gets back. And under pressure from Smith, surely the umpire will call for a bounce about 35 metres from the Bulldogs' goal. 3-1 to 2-3, just a behind, kicked in this term so far to the Western Bulldogs, and it may have in fact been a rush behind. So not much happening as far as the scoreboard attendant is concerned, and certainly both sides not prepared to give any ground here. Dimatina across the half-forward line, important possession here, punched away by Dent, rebounds into the arms of Garlick now, snapshot for goal by Garlick, looks pretty good, the Bullies have got their third. So a good snapshot by Simon Garlick from approximately centre half forward, and he kicks the Bulldogs' third goal. They lead by 2 points.
And a good handball also from Montgomery, who's a pretty handy player. And we see Montgomery there just feeding it off to Simon Garlick. He can take a strong mark as well, Brett Montgomery, and Simon Garlick there, who's been a great acquisition to the side.
Neil Danaher on the phone, and well, his side's having a real dip, as is the Bulldogs, but they lead the Bulldogs by 2 points now. It's been a good, tough contest. Here's Chris Grant, way out at half forward. He's chipping it short. Intelligent play to Hudson. Oh, dangerous hand pass, a poor hand pass actually. Uze. Wide, Tingay. Isn't it great to see Stephen Tingay back in the Demon side? He's been a great player for this club. Dogged with injury, has kicked over the line. Now, was it on the full? Yes, it was. Ingerson socketed it. So it is Todd Curley, right on centre wing. The Bulldogs by 2 points. 46 AFL games. His last club, of course, was the Magpies. It's tapped down. Dimatina got the ball on the string at the moment. Woden tries to beat the man. Umpire calling play on as Ragoni gets it out wide. This is Tingay onto the left. This is where they've been falling down. They've put Cowell up there now for a bit of pace. They need some nippiness up on that forward line. Bulldogs' defence has been excellent. And it goes to ground, and it'll be a bounce.
And McDonald there just climbing back up off the ground. And we saw Scotty West then, who's had Leoncelli picking him up. You see Leoncelli on screen, 36 on Scotty West. He's had 8 possessions, Leoncelli, and Scotty West just the 4, so doing a great job for his side as we see the ball forced back over the line for a boundary throw-in. Danny Southern on screen started on the interchange bench. So Cowell has come onto the ground. Both forward lines have really struggled against the defences today, particularly across the half-back lines. Both have been on top. Scotty Wind couldn't take it. Wild kick by Robinson. Tingay there appealing for the free, and they'll ball it up.
Well, we mentioned, Kevin, Melbourne's defence was certainly strengthened when you had Shanahan and Ingerson coming back. You know, Gergich and Seacamp and Tingay and these guys. Stephen Phoebe. It's a good back line also, and we know the Bulldogs have got a top back line.
So a ball up about 65 metres out from Melbourne's goal. Jeff White beaten this time by Scotty Wine. Doesn't quite get his boot to the ball. Taken away by Tingay. Belts the ball back inside 50. Running with the flight of the ball was Gary Lyon and Croft. And the ball is out on the full. So Gary Lyon has struggled also to get into the game today. He just had the 4 possessions.
Beastly day for forwards, though.
But it has been difficult, hasn't it?
Yeah,
with
very
the
so.
tackling and the chasing under pressure. The ball certainly hasn't been delivered into the forward line today well at all.
It's been crowded, both forward lines, hasn't it?
So Croft from the last line of defence kicks the ball wide, gets good distance, pushed out with Scotty Wine. Still on the boundary line, keeping the ball in. Demons come forward, Rigoni with those quick hands to Matthew Phoebe. Rolls the shoulders, gets away from Dent, thumps the ball back. So we had Gary Lyon had 2 to beat, and chipping in was Danny Southern.
Well, they have to take a gamble, and they are on this occasion. He kicks it wide where Prettyhook has taken the mark, and he gives away a little bit of meterage to Croft. In turn, he goes for the hand pass to Dimatina. Just a well-weighted hand pass. Dent running onto it was good football. His kick down the line, chance for Grant. Ingerson gathers, well tackled. Oh, the great train robbery by Chris Grant, and then he let it go. Unbelievable football. He was away. I think he may have surprised himself. Rigoni into the middle. Leoncelli, who's doing such a good job, manning up on Scotty West. Now the ball with McDonald. Wider still to Seacamp. Seacamp short, and it's effective. The mark is taken by Lyon. Now Gary Lyon, if he could thump a torpedo punt kick, he does kick them pretty well. He could nearly score from here.
And he had to go short then down to Gary Lyon because there was no one back for Melbourne at all in their forward vicinity.
Well, he's going to kick the drop punt into the pocket, and making a good position is McDonald. And he's missed. So Anthony McDonald, 1 goal, 1 in that Melbourne scoreline of 3-2. The Bulldogs 3-3. Not a lot to shout about. Some good confrontations physically, but not much scoring. Only 6 goals so far in this match.
Well, I don't know. I know it's modern-day football, but Seacamp streaming down the ground before. There was no one back inside 50 to kick it to. Surely you must have one man down there. Here's Danny Southern going to the boundary line, then it rolls out. You can't kick goals if there's no one down the forward line. That's all I can say. I suppose they're relying on someone to run through the middle and kick goals on the run. There's Southern, who's been a very, very good player for the Bulldogs over the years, and a character. Look at him grinning. And
Peter Hudson off the ground, and Luke Darcy straight on for the Bulldogs.
Peter Hudson. Well, I bet he wishes he was playing.
Paul. Did I say Peter?
Paul Hudson. Well, Peter, of course, the great full forward. One of the best of all time. Probably the second best of all time.
Yes, Peter McKenna, undoubtedly the best.
I was thinking of Lockett.
Good
What
idea,
are you talking about, Robbo? Centre wing. Wine against White. by Rigoni. He's a thumping kill. Oh, look away hand pass. The trouble was Ingerson wasn't looking. Here's support, though, from Anthony McDonald. That is good play to kick to the open space. Robertson now. What will he do with it? He's going to drive it low. Good mark. Farmer, he's off. Oh, he's tried to do too much. Goodness me. That is wasted opportunities. There's Prettyhook going to the line, but Jeffrey Farmer is marked, what, 40 metres out directly in front?
Hey, Kevin, does his mind go a little bit quicker than his arms and his legs?
Well, we all remember that great incident when he handballed to Gary Lyon, who wasn't looking, and that great shot of Neil Baum. And we see Jeffrey Farmer here, just caught in two minds when he went to play on there, and Tingay was desperate. And great hands also by Prettyhook, and we see the ball was forced over the line.
Yeah, if he had given the original kick, Tingay was on his own and would have run into an open goal.
So it's a game of mistakes, says the coach Neil Danaher on the phone. So the boundary throw in, just on 50. The Demons goalless in this term. The Bulldogs have only kicked one. They've only got 6.5 minutes of action left in this second term.
You know,
so very low-scoring game.
They haven't got much out of Scotty West, just 3 kicks and 1 hand pass, and this player is playing on him, Leon Chelley.
It's been quite fantastic so far. Kicks the ball long. Croft there was wrestling with Gary Lyon. Comes away from the half-back line, chips it short, finds Crediuk, who feeds the ball back off to Johnson. So they get the run across half-back. Johnson signals he wants to kick the ball long down towards Chris Grant, pushing and shoving, and the champ's got it. On this occasion, he's beaten Ingerson. He's had a tough duel. And Chris Grant will be shooting from 55 metres out. He goes short. Darcy's the target. Just off the interchange bench. Got his hands on the Sharon. Should have taken the mark. Cross half back. Leon Challey feeds it off. Shanahan. Oh, couldn't take it. Was Phoebe. Picked up by Darcy. Centres the ball. Minton Connell running with the flight. Can't get there. And again, a boundary throw in.
Another mistake too. A lot of mistakes being made.
So a chance for the Bulldogs. Luke Darcy just came onto the field and dropped the mark in the hit out at the back of the pack. Going to ground was Collingwood. Tingay, the tackler, on Nathan Brown. Start on the bench, all tied up. Back to Collingwood. Rockers the ball wide to Dimatina, who's been outstanding. Back to Scotty Wine. Rarely kicks the ball. They feed the ball back. Dimatina again gets it back to Johnson. Caught to Wine. The tackling's ferocious. Wine under pressure has to kick the ball. The whistle is gone. And Melbourne have got the free kick.
Ah, well, that's another what Don Jolly would refer to as a bewilderer.
We see here under pressure.
Gee, there didn't seem to be much in it, Robbo.
Well, they let so many of them go.
At centre half forward, there was
terrific leap.
Dent.
Terrific leap, wasn't it, there by
Dent.
I'll tell you what, Melbourne badly need Neats back in the side on that forward line. Badly.
Well, there was some talk he may have been available for this game, but I think with the State of Origin match next week, it was better to rest David Neats and get him back, you know, for the game following the State of Origin.
ruck contest, gathered by Gergic to Matthew Phoebe. He thumps it to the goal line, knocked away by Croft from Gary Lyon. And it's gone out on the full by the look of it, so the free kick will be taken by Croft in that right back pocket. You can see there the Bulldog fans in the background, plenty of beanies and scarves, and plenty of Melbourne supporters here too. The Demons, of course, striving to maintain their place in the 8. They're just there at the moment. And the Bulldogs try to arrest just a little bit of a mini slump. Leon Chelley still in the action. Woden to Tingay. Tingay's left foot kick into the pocket is good. And Viney is marked. It must have only been centimetres inside the boundary line. Right in front of where the Western Bulldogs players make their entrance onto the ground. Todd Viney from about 45 metres will kick the ball into the square. It holds up in the face of the breeze. It may have bounced through for a goal. It's a goal to Melbourne. Unbelievable that ball should drop so dramatically right at the feet of the players who were about to contest the mark and then bounce over the line.
Well, you would have bet for sure. Look at this kick, Kevin, as we see Viney kick to the square and the pack will fly to drop short, and then you think it back. Oh, it just got in, nearly snicked the post as it went through. Unbelievable. Well, after an amazing goal by Todd Viney, the Demons lead by 5 points when the ball dropped short in the square and then bounced high and through for a goal. Now, there's Michael Martin. There are two Michael Martins in league football, of course. The tough North Melbourne fullback. And this Michael Martin for the Bulldogs is very, very quick. Now, Woden is looking for an option. We've got 3.5 minutes to half-time. The Demons are doing pretty well here. Bulldogs, one of the top couple of teams on the ladder. Oh, there's a mark. Gergic went early. Eventually, it's McDonald. Oh, mark the line. He plays on. Oh, he goes. Good play, the Demons. And again, Kevin, what about young Gergich? Isn't he cool?
Well, he's played at both ends of the ground this year for Melbourne. And, in fact, a lot of Melbourne people suggest he's very much like the man on screen, Gary Lyon, as a young player. And he's got that sort of skill, and there he is taking that terrific grab and those quick hands, getting the ball down. And finally, Gary Lyon from point-blank range, not missing. Two quick goals to Melbourne, 32-21. So the Demons by 11 points. Under pressure now, the Western Bulldogs. Hopgood pulled off the ball by Scotty West. The whistle has sounded, and West will take the free kick. He's had a tough first half against Leon Challey. He's been their leading kick winner this year. Thumps the ball back towards centre half forward. Phoebe got a hand on it. Montgomery pounced on it, gives it across to Smith in front. Garlick wants a kind bounce, can't get there, coming through hard with Seacamp. Matthew Phoebe, great tackle by Garlick. No free kick. Seacamp gets support back to Adamuze. Under pressure, great kick to the edge of the centre square. Finds Jeff White, goes straight down to centre half forward. Again, too much carry on the ball that time for Gary Lyon. Here's Dimatina caught high. He'll take the free kick. They went at him.
Well, Tingay did too.
Put down Tingay in the first quarter, and they've really gone at Dimatina here.
Oh.
Todd Viney, who settled the score in the first quarter with Dimatina, was in there as well. Danny Southern
Got a headache.
trying to settle the Bulldogs down. Dent ran over the line.
I think he played on and ran over the line, Kev.
There's Paul Dimatina.
Yeah, but who decides whether he played on? Is it the boundary umpire that says he played on, or the field umpire? It was a mark. There was no indication from the field umpire that he'd been declared to play on.
Well, it's not the boundary umpire's decision.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
So he should let it go, and it played a mark.
Under 2 minutes of action. With Melbourne 5-2-32, the Western Bulldogs 3-3-21, and Dimatina looks like he may be coming off the ground. He's decided to stay on.
I think they lined him up, didn't they?
Oh, dear
So
me.
White versus Scotty Wine. Good hands to Rigoni, back to Tingay. So Melbourne making their presence felt late in this second term. There's Croft reading it well.
They've got
this
to get
time
something out of this, Kevin.
beating Gary Lyon to Krediuk. So a transfer of play. Goes short, finds Johnson, who's the designated runner out of defence, kicks down towards Chris Grant. He wants a bounce in front of Ingerson. Grant chips it out in front. Darcy has got Shanahan to beat. Minton Connell pushed over the line. Good defensive play by Seacamp.
He's done a good job, Seacamp, down there.
And they'll toss it back in.
His interception earlier, when he had to make the ball his objective coming out from full back, when I think Garlick was about to swoop on it, was a critical move. Talking about Garlick, he's got the football, he can't break away.
That was a bit stiff,
I'm
wasn't
glad
it?
if I know. I think you've got to give a bloke a chance to get rid of it, don't you?
I didn't think he had
Surely.
much chance there.
Anyway, Rigoni with the football for Melbourne. Kicks it very, very nicely. Dimatina nearly took the mark. Krediuk rebounds back towards Dimatina. Maybe he will get an effective kick away. No. They're outnumbered here 3-2. They do well to lock it up. And they do. Dimatina crunched again.
I think they lined him up again. I'll tell you what, Paul's going to be a bit sick and sorry by the end of the game.
Well, he did get one of Melbourne's favourite sons in that contest in the first term, Stephen Tingay, off the ball. Scotty Wine trying to break clear. Now Curley, little hand pass, not bad. West. Onto him is Cowell. Tingay leaving it behind Stephen Phoebe. Second effort was good. Garlick over the top. May have infringed. Oh, the supporters down in front here give the umpires a nice old bake. It's at left half forward for the Bulldogs, and a siren has sounded. Some frustrated Bulldogs, I would suspect. Dimatina with a sore head. He will look forward to the half-time break. At half-time, the Melbourne side lead by 11 points. They've kicked 5-2. The Bulldogs are 3-3. Difficult, blustery conditions prevailing at the Optus Oval.
Well, it's defences on top. There's Danny Southern, and it's been belted down both forward lines. I think you'd agree, Kevin, but the tackling and the ferociousness is such, and numbers getting back in defence that it's very difficult for the respective forward lines.
The Bulldogs have been a bit disappointing. Last week performance against St Kilda was a good one. They lost to Port Adelaide the week before. Last year they went through a patch where they lost 4 games on the trot. And I think Terry Wallace would be pretty disappointed. They look a bit lethargic to me today, and I don't want to take anything away from Melbourne. They're doing a great job. Liam Chelly's playing on Scotty West. That's a good contest. He stopped West from being a major player. I think Gingerson's done also pretty well on Chris Grant. Jeff Farmer's also struggled to get into the game too, playing on Brad Weir as Neil Danaher there, just checking the stats. But at half-time here at Optus Oval, Melbourne 5-2-32, leading the Western Bulldogs by 11 points. Take a short break and we'll come back with more action from Optus Oval. And this is going to be a big test now for the Bulldogs. They look a little bit flat to me in that first half.
Well, we'll soon see, Kevin. The second half now started and Jeff White gets his first hand on the football. Rigoni down to Cowell. Cowell's quick kick, lands at half forward, taken by Farmer, kick forward by Matthew Phoebe, in towards the pocket area. Bradley confronted, still has the football. He was given the benefit of the doubt, lying down, he goes. In there was Brown, then Brown, and Brown. The Brown boys are on the ground. Nathan Brown for the Western Bulldogs and Nathan Brown for Melbourne, number 17 and 41 respectively. Kolonyuk, he kicks the ball to half forward. Oh, spectacularly done. We saw in the highlights the North Melbourne captain Wayne Carey do that at Waverley. And we've now watched Chris Grant, who I think is probably one of the most skillful big men in the caper.
Yes, he just leant into Ingerson then, didn't he? That's a sign of a good player. To use his body, Dunstall like then, he just leaned into him with his arm and his hip and just put him off balance and then plucked it in with the one hand.
Such an important kick because, as I said prior to the start of this third term, they've looked a bit flat, the Bulldogs. Ingerson's done a very good job playing on Chris Grant, although that's his 5th mark.
Well, I think the team that kicks to this Robert Heatley stand end, it's the Bulldogs in the third term, Melbourne in the last. Whoever gets the best score to that end of the ground is going to win the game. There's only 11 points in it. Chris Grant may bring it back to 5. It's a goal. Bulldogs the first goal of the second half. Chris Grant, the badly needed first goal of this term, kicked by Grant. The Bulldogs trail by 5 points.
Well, really, Melbourne had it, Kevin, down there. They had many opportunities in that patch there to score a goal themselves. Then on the rebound, they were caught out.
And they've also changed their forward setup with Danny Southern in the goal square with Cook and Minton Connell on the interchange bench.
Five points the margin only now. Still in favour of Melbourne. So these centre bounces very important. Jeff White jumps very, very early. West has had a quiet game, a quick kick. Not Mark Ingerson's got to be quick. Oh, he just got his hands to it. Rigoni's a thumping kick normally, and he goes for the long one. It's a 65-metre kick. Some pushing and shoving down here at half-back for the Bulldogs. Curley. West. He's caught. Robertson is there. Here's Wirra. They're attacking him. Oh, taken away by Robertson, but in the meantime, there's a free kick to Wirra. And too high. Wirra gives it across to Dent. Dent transfers play. This is Steve Crediuk. He's got Croft running for him. He wants to give it over the top here, but he elects to go inside. This is Garlick. Over to Croft. Oh, he might be caught here. Cowell's quick. Croft is good enough to get in the hand pass, though. Johnson, a quick kick to the half-forward line. Oh, strong work as all the players went in hard after it. Wind is there. Seacamp also. Uze. It's a loose ball with Colonel. Grant, is that high? Umpire said no, it'll be a bounce.
Some good early signs by the Bulldogs. Kicking the first goal of this third term. The ball now inside 50. So the Demon defence under pressure. Scotty Wine takes the front position. Could have got one over the shoulder. Viney trying to break through with strength. Loose ball. Oof. Crash, bang. Seacamp all tied up by Johnson. And again, they'll ball it up. 40 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal. And James Cook still in the square. Danny Southern now is lined up alongside him. And Simon Minton-Connell has started on the interchange bench. So that two-pronged attack, Terry Wallace has decided to shelve that just for the time being. Wine against the young gun in white. At ground level, Colinook was there. Free kick has been paid. And it's going to Melbourne. So the ball will come back. And Nathan Brown. This is Nathan D. Brown. It's Nathan G. Brown for the Western Bulldogs. Short to Phoebe. Again, the loose player has been set up, this time to his brother in Matthew. Under pressure to Ingerson. It's battled pretty hard. The handball didn't hit a target. West now under pressure, dumped by Shanahan. Under pressure, Leon Chally. Garlick wanted the free kick, thought he was tackled too high. Southern there as well, and they'll ball it up. Just outside of 50.
Gee, that was terrific, wasn't it? Just guys getting their hands on it, not allowing the ball to slip out. Watch this. It's terrific, this passage of play. Just anyone lets that ball out, Melbourne go down the ground or the Bulldogs go into their forward line, and just maybe a goal could be scored. 5 points, Melbourne lead, 32 plays 27.
Rigoni's going off with the blood rule.
Kevin, you mentioned Nathan Brown from Melbourne. I saw him a few weeks ago here, and he is a tough little cookie, that little blonde fella. Wait till you see him for the rest of this game. He is fearless for a little fella.
And Shane Woden has come onto the ground for Melbourne, replacing Rigoni. There he is on screen, number 22. He's played every game since he's been at Melbourne.
I thought he'd been all right in the first half, and he started the second half on the bench. Had 11 touches in the first half. This is Grant getting the ball back to Scotty West. Off the left foot. Yes, good mark. Excellent mark to Montgomery. And boy, haven't we become used to this now. Brett Montgomery has been a goal kicker for the Bulldogs in season 97 and 98.
He's not an easy player to pick up because he's very good at ground level and takes an exceptionally strong mark for a person of his size. So far this year, he's kicked 9 goals leading into this game.
Well, this will be a good kick to score. He's going to have to get it 50 metres from directly in front. Maybe set it out to the right. The breeze might help it down there. It gets all the way there. James Cook behind the line has taken the mark, but it scores a behind to the Western Bulldogs. Second score from Montgomery, 2 behinds against his name, and it's 4 points the margin in favour of Melbourne.
So Matthew Phoebe in front of the Carlton Social Club. I don't think it was meant for Cow, but he's ended up with the mark. I think it was meant for Uze, that pass. Now, Cow gives it off. This is Matthew Phoebe. A nicely weighted kick. Gergich at the back. He just... Well, no, it's not Gergich. In fact, it's Leon Chally. It looked like Gergich floating across the back. This casual way he went for it, I would have sworn it was Gergich. White. This is Wines, and players pounce on it and they won't get it out of there, and umpire Brian Sheehan, a very experienced umpire, will bounce it 70 metres out from the Melbourne goal. As we see Terry Wallace, well, he'd be a little bit concerned at the moment. There's Libba, a tough little rover out doing some work behind the fence. But he'd be a worried man at the moment. They're not playing all that well, the Bulldogs, although this term's been a lot better. Centre wing, Colin Hook was hard at the ball then, but an errant hand pass allows Steve Phoebe, who's had such a magnificent season, to give it over to Tingay. He means a lot to the team, Tingay. He kicks it long, they need a mark. Bradley, off hands and through for a behind to Melbourne. So the Demons improved their lead. It's gone to 5 points again. But some good signs for the Bulldogs. They've started off pretty well in this term. This is Matthew Dent bringing it back in.
And Melbourne led by 5 points at quarter time and 11 points also at half time. And there's a good mark to Curley. He's been very good across half back to Nathan Brown. So the Bulldogs trying some run. Woden chipped in. He's got space. He can weigh up his options. Goes short, very short. Put his teammate Robinson under a lot of pressure, then pulled off the ball by Garlick. Robinson's quick, goes to the ground. A great tackle by Garlick. Woden's there as well. But the free kick will go to Simon Garlick.
Don't believe that Woden didn't have the ball when he was dragged away there before.
And there was the tackle by Simon Garlick, and it was paid. So from the half-back line, pumps the ball back. Ingerson against Grant. Bulldogs supporters thought their champ might have been caught high. Viney goes to ground as well. And they'll toss it back in on centre wing. 5-3-33 Melbourne. The Western Bulldogs 4-4-28. And that's Neil Danaher in the shadows. Still on the phone. Looking pretty relaxed with his feet up. Ball comes back. Montgomery rockets it wide. They concede ground. Brown goes backwards to Curley. It's been interfered with. And he'll take the free kick. So started the game on the interchange bench, on the edge of the centre square. Pumps the ball down towards centre half forward. pack is forming, looking for Grant, punched away by Ingerson, taken there by Seacamp, gives the ball across to Phoebe, finds a loose player out wide in Uze, again tries to set up, this time short, and he finds Gary Lyon on the edge of the centre square. Tingay is running hard to make ground, also Jeff White, they can raffle it. Bingo, the lucky number's 34, and White has got it just outside of 50.
It was better use of the ball because the experienced player like Lyon gets it. He looked up, he didn't just blaze away, did he, Robbo?
No.
Had a look and had 2 options to kick it to. That was a good play by Lyon.
Do you think these two boys have had a kicking contest between Stephen Tingay and Jeff White? Because Stephen Tingay was quite prepared to allow Jeff White to take that mark. He may think the big fella can kick it further.
Well, he's taken 7 marks. This is possession number 10. He's just been added to the Victorian squad.
What a great camera shot too from behind.
So Jeff White unloads a big bomb. He's got it. Gee.
Is he a talented big man or what?
Well, he's an enormous talent. We saw him when he was with Fremantle, just learning his trade. And from Fremantle's point of view, they were pretty disappointed when he went to Melbourne because they put a couple of years into him in developing him, but it looks like Melbourne now is going to reap the benefits.
Well, just his ability to cover ground as well as play the natural role of a ruckman. So Melbourne back out to an 11-point advantage with 12 and a half minutes left in the third quarter. They lead 39-28. White too early. Wind gets it down, but that's Leon Chelley, who's been pretty good on Scotty West. It's still there, and a disputed ball. Leon Chelley, handball to no one in particular. Brown, the boy that Peter McKenna spoke about. He's after it again, and he's got it. He's kicked the Demons forward to within scoring distance. It's knocked away. The Bulldog defence now under enormous pressure. Through goes Leon Chelley. He's going to be rewarded. He's going to give the hand pass over. Melbourne have got another one through Bradley. Second goal to Bradley. And Melbourne have got their 6th on the scoreboard. They lead by 17 points, the biggest lead in the game so far.
And Mark Bradley has put that ball on top of the it's going to cost them. Someone's going to get up and get that ball as we look at it in replay. And chipping in was Leon Chelley, and he all the time was going to draw the man and then give it over to Bradley for his second. But this is a good lead, Kevin.
Very good lead there. Very impressive so far, Melbourne.
Well, there's Mark Bradley, and this is very, very good little lead here to Melbourne. If they can pick up another one right now, the Bulldogs will be... Look at Brown tearing in.
Which one?
Eventually it was the other Brown, took it from him towards half forward. Grant, cleverly done. Johnson, back in the direction of Grant, but Martin was there. He was gang tackled. Good play by the Demons. Ingerson. Over it comes. Regani drives it long towards the half-forward line. Dent couldn't take the mark. He's got some support there by Martin. Here's Curley. No, it wasn't. It was Brown who gave it across. Curley. Now Martin. Martin bends it back. Grant trying his heart out as usual. Ingerson caught a little bit at the back. He's kicked it out in front of Curley here, Grant, and that was a clever kick. Hand pass to Cook. Let's see what Cook can do. He's got Steve Phoebe after him. It'll be forced over the... No, it won't. Now it is. Now, was that deliberate? No. Good umpiring.
Terry Wallace would be furious that that handball couldn't hit a target. That was a beautiful set-up kick by Chris Grant just out in front so he could run on the ball. And then all he had to do was, Todd Curley, was to give it to James Cook.
Just off the boil a bit, aren't they? The Bulldogs...
No, they look flat.
Yep. Here's Darcy. Let's tap back to Steve Phoebe, who drives it to centre wing. Tingay putting on a good contest here, but he's beaten for it by Curley. Curley's going to chip it in short. This is Chris Grant. Grant, drives it straight to Matthew Phoebe, who's quite... that might be against Cook. Over the line, no. He'll throw in.
Kevin, there was a lot of discussion about Peter Everett dyeing his hair and the dreadlocks and the spider headband and what have you. What about James Cook dyeing his hair?
Well, I can remember when Peter Everett dyed his, Stan Alves said, let's hope he can play well. And I think that's the key to it. James Cook booted 3 goals last week. Been out of sorts a bit today, but we must say the ball hasn't really been coming down the forward line quickly. and both defences have been on top. But Melbourne certainly on top at the moment. There's James Cook on screen.
Kevin, you played
at this ground here at Carlton.
Well, you played over 400 games. If you had a haircut like that, mate, you would have won a couple of Brownlows.
If I had had hair, I might have won a Brownlow. Todd Viney in hot pursuit there. Goes hard at the ball. Stephen Phoebe happy to kick the ball through or behind. So Melbourne standing up in his third term after a couple of shocking performances. Surprised the football world last week with that big win over the West Coast Eagles. The Bulldogs have lost to Port Adelaide and then last week to St Kilda, and they're struggling today at Optus Oval.
Aren't these two tough nuts, these Phoebe boys?
Well, they've been great players for Melbourne and both in good form. Jeff White, again starring today, having quite an influence on this game.
They can build their side round this fella, can't they, Kevin?
Well, 11 possessions and 8 marks already and 5 hit-outs. He goes short, looking for Seacamp. Through the centre square, feeds it off to Tingay. Plenty of run in the Melbourne legs. Through the centre square, kicks a long bomb. Backing back is Bradley. Can he get there? Got his hands on the ball. Just couldn't take it. So the youngster from East Fremantle has come off the bench and booted 2 goals. And there's James Cook going from the field. And coming on is young Elvie.
So both their full forwards off the ground.
So Simon Mitton-Cole and James Cook. Bulldogs had high hopes coming into this game. Brown gets it back to Todd Vine. He tries to weave his way out of trouble. Crediuk crashed into the ground. Darcy goes to ground as well. And they'll ball it up just 20 metres out from goal.
Gee, forwards play like Dow defenders now, don't they? In modern day AFL football, every player has to have a bit of a dip.
Didn't they do that nowadays, Robbo?
Nowhere near as desperately, I don't think, as they do in these days. Kick the goal as Gary Lyon. No, he hasn't. He's missed.
So a quick snap there by Gary Lyon. We just had a shot also of Terry Wallace looking down at his board. At this stage, he'd be looking to see what he can actually do to lift this flagging Bulldog side, who are really struggling against this passionate Melbourne side. So 46 players, 29.
I think it's worthwhile elaborating that business about players just being desperados all over the ground. I mean, if you lack a little bit of concentration at any stage in a game of football and you don't tackle hard enough, you don't harass your opponent, they're away down the other end of the ground, aren't they, within a split second?
Yeah, tackling's much tougher than what it was 20 years ago.
Well, this is Nathan Brown. You know the middle initial, Kev. Nathan Brown's kick. Well, he gives it up. It's Robertson. Robertson goes back. Now Ingerson's hand pass, wider still. Phoebe back to Robertson. Robertson into the pocket. Todd Viney. He's been a great captain today. Leon Chelly. Brown again. Sidesteps his opposite number. Croft nearly got him. Kick forward by Leon Chelly high over on the full. And a free kick to the Bulldogs. Leon Chelly's statistics, 9 kicks, 9 hand passes.
Scott West is hurt too, Robbo.
Scott West 6 and 1. Well, that's bad luck for the Bulldogs because he's just such a key player in the middle of the ground. And Kevin, you mentioned about the absence of Jose Ramiro and Tony Liberatore, how it puts a lot of pressure back onto a key player, and he's on his own at the moment, Scott West, in the middle of the ground, and he's missing his teammates in that area. Melbourne lead the game by 17 points, the biggest margin so far between these two teams. 7-4 plays 4-5. The umpire's found a free kick out of that ruck contest
against Bradley,
and it'll go to Darcy.
Yes, there was poor play. Now, this is the young fellow, Mark Elvey, swinging onto the left. A little chip pass across, finds Nathan Brown for the Bulldogs, who drives it to centre wing. This is where they've been falling down. Melbourne have got plenty of pace. Matthew Phoebe headed with the boundary line. That was Ingerson getting it to Uze towards the centre of the ground. The Bulldogs have got it. Darcy, good play by the Demons. They're off and running. It was a free kick. It's a free kick back to Darcy. He was a little lucky. Melbourne supporters hooting that one. Now, Luke Darcy had a pretty quiet game. Johnson, he's off. Brings it in towards half forward. Oh, good punch away. The Melbourne player should have marked, it was Regani, should have marked it in his hands. Oh, good team play this as the hand pass comes out to Cowell. Cowell bombs it up high towards centre wing. Oh, the players fly. It's a loose ball. Brown beaten for it. Here's Dent. Dodging and weaving. The former Fitzroy player bends it back to the half-forward line. Oh, well trapped there by Johnson. Now Nathan Brown. Now Martin. Michael Martin was nearly unloaded. He sprints away and onto the right foot. Good kick. Finds Curley. Curley's on centre wing. This is where they've been falling down. They bring it into that corridor. Good play by Seacamp to put the pressure on. Here's Ingerson loping after it, and he'll try to give a hand pass off here.
A very casual Ingerson, then rockets the ball wide, finds Bradley, who's booted a couple of goals, finds young Brown, who started on the interchange bench, has been in the action, picking up touches in this third term, chips the ball out wide, Dent goes to ground, so a chance for Melbourne. Robinson has kicked the goal as well, a likely tight back to Tingay, who kicks the ball to the true centre-half forward position. Here's White out in front. That was a great kick, and the athleticism of White made it all happen. Viney in the square. White unloads a big bomb. Way off target. Got the distance, not the accuracy. And through for a minor score.
Can't believe that he wouldn't go back.
Take his time.
Yes, because he kicked a goal from probably very much a similar area in distance. And in hurrying, just no accuracy.
The shot of Neil Danaher looking quite calm at the moment. He'd be happy with what he's seeing. Young Elvie, youngster making his way in the game. From Wentworth in New South Wales to Hudson, who has been below his best form in recent weeks as the Bulldogs' leading goal kicker. Here's White, again doing his own roving, kicks the ball back. Credior also has been added to the Victorian side.
No forwards, Melbourne.
And Nathan Brown trying to pinpoint it out wide of Montgomery, and chipping in is Gary Lyon. So he's across half back, short to Uze. Put under a lot of pressure, looking for Bradley. So danger here. Grant's got it. Crash, bang, just rides the bump from Matthew Phoebe, kicks the ball out wide. Montgomery traps it inside 50. Should kick a goal. Steadies 45 metres out. Ball's half smothered off the boot. Great play by Melbourne. Now a free kick's being paid because
down
he was
the
put
field.
down.
He played it.
So he was put down after the kick.
But that was shocking play by Melbourne. Kevin back there across half-back. That was just dreadful football.
And Paul Hudson.
Gee, this is a critical free kick down the ground, isn't it? It wasn't going to score. The kick by Montgomery smothered off the boot.
So directly in front, just 20 metres out, and Hudson kicks a goal. So he's kicked 35 goals for the season. Hasn't been in the best of form of recent weeks, but as we know, with Paul Hudson being a goal kicker, you just never know when he's going to get a couple.
He'll sneak up and bite you on the backside, Paul Hudson, if you just ignore him for 10 minutes.
Yeah. The Melbourne mucking around with it across half-back before is because they don't trust their forwards when they kick it down long. So what do? They look for the short option, then they muck around with it and they turned it over.
So Jeff White having a rest in the forward line and Bradley doing the ruck work. He's up against Darcy. Darcy. Now Melbourne through Shanahan. Kick the ball back towards half forward. Marking contest. To struggle here. Farmer gets the hand pass away. Good hands there by Scotty West. Releases Elvie. You're gone now, Elvie. No, he's tackled from behind.
That's the rule.
It might have come from Wira.
That is the rule where it's holding the ball, surely. John Russo explained it last night, if you run from behind, you kick at the ball and you miss, then it's holding the ball. The umpire did not pay it.
Well, it's going to be bounced, Peter, and still the Bulldogs a chance to score. Kolonyuk over the top. He's opposite number 2, Tingay. Rigoni is there. He's tackled by Martin. Got the handball away. Cowell gets through. Well done by Darren Cowell. His kick drops short. Awkward bouncing ball now. Oh, look at Stephen Tingay. He went in very hard. Ball gathered by Wira. Oh, well done. He got threaded his way through there beautifully. Got the ball to Johnson. Can the Bullies score a late goal in the third term? It's out wide to Hudson. Hudson's too far out. His little left foot kick is all right. Grant, Ingerson over the top. It's a free kick. You wonder why. What can a man do if he's a defender second in line as he's supposed to allow the key forward to take a simple mark?
Slipper got into his back.
Looked like he did it pretty well there, Ingerson.
Well, Chris Grant has got the free kick. Melbourne fans would be feeling hard done by. Chris Grant, he kicked a goal earlier in this quarter, the first goal of the second half, from very much the same area. It takes a very, very good kick to score from here. The breeze is blowing pretty well straight into his face. The important kick. If he can score a goal, it'll be 6 points the difference right on three-quarter time. It's a good kick, it's a goal. Well done, Chris Grant. By gee, that's a good kick. When the crunch is on, you look at your star players to do something special, and he's kicked 2 goals in this third term to make the difference. Just 6 points in favour of the Demons.
I didn't think he was going to make the distance, Robbo. You mentioned the breeze was in his face there. I thought it might have held up. That was a very, very good kick.
Well, I think, as I said, the key players, the big-name players do special things.
Bulldogs within 6 points, and Chris Grant, arguably the best player over the last 2 seasons in AFL football, been by 1 vote in the Brownlow medal in '96. Last year, the top vote getter couldn't take it because of suspension. Coming back for the Bulldogs in this third term, he's booted 2 important goals, and this man, Todd Curley's been very good across half-back. Former Collingwood player. Feeds it off, gives it across to Dent. So a transfer of play. This is a great kick, finds Darcy wide. It's had little impact on the game so far. Long way to go. Brad Johnson. You get the feeling the Bulldogs have got a sniff. Maybe starting to find their feet in this third term. Drives the ball long. Again, Chris Grant in front, pushing and shoving with Shanahan. Out-muscled on that occasion. Seacamp tried to win it, going to ground. They pile on top, and they'll ball it up 30 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal. And there's Rowan Smith. A few words to umpire Vernon Hopgood, also chipping in for his work. So under 2 minutes of action left. The Demons by 6 points. They led by 11 points at half-time, 5 points at quarter-time. Darcy got his hands on the ball. Grant, all tied up by Stephen Phoebe. And they'll bounce in the forward pocket. So Chris Grant, 2 goals in this third term, 14 possessions and 7 marks. Just works his way into the game each week, Chris Grant, doesn't he?
Oh,
Not
yes.
as if he has a great first quarter or second quarter. He just accumulates important possessions. Collingwood, well robed to the front of the square. Croft goes the punch, gets in the back of Seacamp. He'll take the free kick.
Grant works so hard, Kevin. He just does not stop trying. So he's such a talented player. He always works his way into it.
Well, Roden runs to 50. Kicks the ball long for distance. It's a poor kick. Coming from behind was Tingay. Curley stood his ground. Martin tries to shovel it out to Scott West, who did well. Then goes short. Bad kick. Well read by Leon Challey. Thumps the ball deep. Here's a chance. Pushing and shoving. White was down there with Gary Lyon. Credihook goes the ground. Lyon was the tackler. Loose ball. Pounced on by Danny Southern. Needs clean hands. Finally under pressure. Pushes it through for a behind.
Well, we've got half a minute to go until three-quarter time, and a goal either way would make a huge difference in this half a minute. Now there's 7 points in front, as we see Dent, that is Melbourne, towards the half-back line. Curley. Now the Bulldogs with the chances, they go forward. There's Uze. He's hotly pressed down there by Montgomery. Montgomery, he's got 2 to beat by Woden, is trying to get it out. The umpire sensibly not pinging him for that, and there'll be a bounce way out there on the centre wing with time clock ticking down towards three-quarter time. It's going to be a ding-dong last quarter here. It's a huge game for both clubs, particularly Melbourne, who are just in the 8. So umpire Grant Vernon bounces it. Siren about to go. There won't be another score. And there it is, the siren at three-quarter time. It'll be a 7-point margin in favour of Melbourne as the Bulldogs, Robbo, snuck back into it and were coming at them when Melbourne lacked forwards.
Yeah, Peter, they had their best quarter for the match. They kicked 2-2 in the first quarter, 1-1 in the second. In that quarter, they kicked 3 goals too, to the end to which we feel maybe the non-scoring end. But as I said at half-time, the teams that kick to that Robert Heatley stand, when there's a bit of breeze here at Optus Oval, if you can score at that end of the ground, which the Bulldogs did in that third term, at least they've put themselves back in the game. It's 7 points the margin, and at least they've got some chance now when they did trail by 17 points at one stage in that third quarter. At three-quarter time, Melbourne lead 7-6-48. The Bulldogs are 6-5-41.
Well, the start of the last quarter, Melbourne by 7 points. Chris Grant on screen, being picked up by Marcus Seacamp. And I did notice that James Cook and Simon Minton-Connell were still on the interchange bench. So that two-pronged attack that Terry Wallace had prior to this game, unfortunately not starting for the Bulldogs, hasn't been a winner for the Bulldogs today. As Raw goes around Optus Oval, pretty jam-packed ground today apart from the Legends stand. Bulldog supporters really don't like that Legends stand as White gets his hands on the ball. There's Viney leading by example. Big crunch on Paul DiMartino early in the game. Gets the ball back here to Martin. So the Bulldogs kick the ball out wide towards the wing position, and Croft chasing it with Shanahan with him. Jamie Shanahan being good in defence today as well. And Matthew Croft now playing up on the forward line. So Shanahan and Ingerson back in the Melbourne side have certainly strengthened the defence.
And Shanahan's gone down on the Grant, Kevin.
So that move has been made. Jeff White has been so good today for Melbourne as well, as they pile on top, and we've got a ball up. And there's Chrissy Grant, who kicked 2 goals in that third term, being picked up by one of the best fullbacks in the business.
Yes, he's a dour person, isn't he, Jamie Shanahan? Not blessed with magnificent skills, but by gee, he's got a big heart and a strong mind. The bounce of the ball on centre wing, and Darcy and White to go at it. Luke Darcy tries to hack it forward. Jeff White. That was Rigoni. Oh, the umpire got in the road. Rigoni had another chance as a result of it. Stephen Phoebe's little hand pass. Well done now. Rigoni again. Kicked fairly well ineffective, but he's been pushed in the back, has he? He's hurt his leg. He's hurt his leg.
I think the umpire paid the trip.
Well, I thought he actually
stubbed him, you think?
Well, no, I thought he stubbed his foot into the ground when he tried to kick it. But maybe after he did get rid of it, he may have been pushed. Watch again. He goes to kick the ball.
It was a trip, I think. Grabbed his foot.
Just hit the back of his heel, yep. Just enough to put Guy Rigoni off in his kicking attempt. 50 metres from goal. You said he's a thumping kick, Peter.
Well, he's a huge kick.
It'd have to be a big one from here to score. Breeze still blowing quite fiercely from above the Social Club as Rigoni kicks the ball, certainly to within scoring distance. Bulldog defence under pressure here. Robertson trying to crash away with the football, unsuccessful, and the umpire will bounce right in front of the Melbourne goal. Start of the last quarter, very early in the last term. Melbourne lead by 7 points, no addition to the three-quarter time score.
Well, the goal, all this, is that a free kick to line? No. It's thumped over the line. It's still deep in that forward zone. If a goal here would be invaluable to the Demons. It's that ferocious side of Danny Southern. Steve Krediuk is in the Victorian squad for the State of Origin. Darcy thumps it with the right hand. It's a loose ball out here. Cow went past the ball. Martin was there. Eventually it's forced to the line. But here's Tingate. Viney will work hard. It's Brown. Back in the direction of Tingate. And close to the boundary line. Is that Jeffrey Farmer? It is. It's had a quiet game, Jeff, after being out for 3 weeks through suspension.
Brad Wirra, number 24 for the Bulldogs, has done a very good job on Farmer. He was a match winner.
Good little stopper. Oh, White was caught high. Again, look at this. It's like a rugby scrum in there. The tackling has been ferocious.
And Robertson climbs back up off the ground. He's kicked 1 goal. It's played mainly across the half-forward line. Really a true centre-half forward position today for Robinson. So a ball up right on 50. So Jeff White again in the ruck, down to McDonald, and it's forced over line, and they'll toss it back in.
He actually palms the ball pretty well, White, doesn't he, Kevin?
I think Simon Madden is the ruck coach at Melbourne, one of the, I suppose, the greatest ruckman we've had of the modern era. So he's got a terrific teacher down there. Chance for Farmer, the wizard, on the boundary line. Maybe a bit of magic. Robinson around the corner, quick snap. He's missed. And it's out in the foot. 7-6-48 Melbourne. The Bulldogs 6-5-41. So the Demons by 7 points. They're led by 7 points at three-quarter time, 11 points at half-time, and 5 points at quarter time. So they've led the Bulldogs all day. Simon Garlick goes to ground, and he's Southern the tackler. Loose ball, Tingay tries to feed it off to Viney. Johnson takes it over the line.
Brad Johnson, who was a Victorian representative last year and is in the squad. His stats today pretty good. Todd Viney, who's been a real numbers man for Melbourne. Have a look at the determination on his face as he tries to crash his way through. Still Melbourne trying to get the ball wide of their 50-metre line. Leoncelli tackled by West. Viney again gets his right foot to it, kicks the ball towards goal, and just out of reach there of Jeffrey Farmer. Through for a behind kick by Todd Viney for Melbourne.
I think Cook's coming back on, Robbo.
Well, his value will be there if he can take a mark down on the full forward line, but no point being down there if you can't get the ball down.
Hudson.
Dent kicks it in.
Hudson will be coming off in a moment, but he had to go back and mind the... Well, he's ended up with the ball, and as he kicks it, he'll probably come off. So he brings it down to the half-forward line. Good mark. Very good mark out of Muse. He's had an outstanding season. Now, this could be dangerous. He's transferring play here. It'll have to be pinpoint accuracy. Way out on the wing is Woden. Oh, just got his boot to it. And, oh, cruel bounce out there for Woden, but he's going to end up with it. Oh, it wasn't Woden. It might have been McDonald out there. It was McDonald. And number 23. Well, the sun shining way out on that side of the ground. James McDonald it was.
Peter Uze holding onto the football. While he did it, they all got covered out there.
That's
if he'd
exactly
kicked it
right.
straight away, there was about 2 or 3 of them on their own.
I think he was going to kick it at Tingay, but he could see one of the Bulldogs players closing pretty quickly.
Well, there's a pack
it would
of
have been a
about,
bit dangerous.
a pack of about 18 players there. Here's Martin, who's very, very quick on the breakaway. The race is on for the ball. Cook underneath it. Collinook dives after it. There's poor. Look at Montgomery racing in. A hand pass back in the direction of Cook, who slips over. Still got heaps of time though, Cook. Here's Croft bending it back. The bounce, and it has bounced through and over the line for throwing.
I could just imagine all the Bulldog supporters out there saying, "Can't you keep your feet, James? Please." The chance was there then, wasn't it, for James Cook?
When you're having a bad day, he's yet to have a kick, James Cook, as we see the ball forced back over the boundary line. He had 2 handballs in his time on the field, but when things are going against you, just when he wanted to keep his feet, he just went to ground. There's Ingerson, who looks to be in a little bit of trouble on the boundary line as well for Melbourne. So a chance here. Johnson runs into the open goal. He's got it. He's missed. Well, I thought he kicked it from point-blank range.
He looked confident, didn't he?
And as he ran back, I thought he's drilled it. And there's Terry Wallace. Would be disappointed because there's a big opportunity for the Bulldogs. They haven't had too many where they've had easy chances to kick a goal. So Melbourne now find Cowell inside the centre square. Back to Matthew Phoebe. Runs through the centre, goes short and finds Brown. Nathan Brown is right on 50. Spent a lot of time on the interchange bench in the first half. Kicks into the pocket. The Farmer is out there. The Wizard, but marking in front is Robertson.
That's better forward play, isn't it, Robbo?
Well, they got it down there quickly, and it was fairly smart play in the finish. But I mean, if you've got the loose player in the middle of the ground, Seacamp took advantage there and got the ball into the middle, and then the young fella Brown kicking it down quickly.
He's been a handy player. He's had 13 possessions. He kicked a goal in the first quarter. Important kick for Melbourne. It's hit the post. So disappointment for Demon supporters. And that young man is disappointed as well. 50 plays 42. Melbourne by 8 points. Dent kicks the ball wide, looking for Brown, and a good grab. Plays on quickly to Luke Darcy, who just stabs the ball up towards the half-forward line. Trying to crash his way through was Adam Uze. Croft just on the swerve, gave himself a bit of room, kicks the ball wide, looking for Mick Martin. Thought he took the mark. Cowell goes to ground. The mark has been paid. And Martin is virtually on the point of the centre square. The Bulldogs trail by 8 points. Cook on the lead. Martin kicks the ball long. High flyer. He's got it. Montgomery. And we've seen him do that a few times this year. Such a strong mark for his size. He's a great foil.
Kevin, I know to keep possession of the ball is a key ingredient in today's football, but Matthew Croft was on the left-hand forward point of the square when he gathered. He went straight across the ground to the defensive side. Now that Montgomery's got it, he's on a difficult angle, and he's really got to judge this breeze very, very nicely now to score a goal. It's a very important kick in the context of this match. Well,
yet to kick a goal. Kicked it behind in the third quarter. And this to get the Bulldogs within 2 points. Montgomery on a tight angle, 40 metres out. He's got it.
Well, I suppose there's a lot about structural setups of modern-day football, Peter, but sometimes I guess we question it, but the boys must know exactly what they're doing. They've got to keep possession of the ball.
Well, Melbourne still lead by 2 points, but up the other end, if Robertson doesn't hit the post and kick a goal, it just changes. Just shows accuracy of goal kicking is just so important.
Game of centimetres, isn't it?
So we're back to the centre with Melbourne leading by 2 points after a goal to Brett Montgomery. So the out of the centre is very important here, and the Bulldogs win it. It was Johnson, Matthew Phoebe, well done, Brown, a tough little customer, racing after it, still going Brown, Nathan Brown, and he gets a little kick into it, and over the line it goes on centre wing.
Good play by Garlick of keeping the pressure on that young fella.
Might have had the pace, Simon Garlick, to go with him, the former Sydney Swans speedster. So it's crunch time now. The Demons by 2 points. Luke Darcy flips it over the back. Ragoni drives it to the centre of the ground. Here's an important ball. Woden. Oh, just a little fumble, but he's got it. Cleverly done. He should drive it long. He does. Beautiful kick to the full forward line. But Wirra has been too good for Farmer today. That was a very good mark.
He certainly has been a great player in defence. He's found his niche in the back pocket. Danny Southern gives the ball across to Brown. Goes short. The Bulldogs have trailed all day. Dent from the half-back line. Hugs the boundary line, looking for Croft. There's a beautiful kick out in front. Didn't have to break stride. Matthew Croft between wing and halfback. Takes him on. Rockets the ball, finds Johnson, who wants to get around. Brown does well. Kicks the ball back inside the centre square. They've got a loose player, tried to take a one-hander. Was Martin Collier. Didn't quite have the hands to gather. Under pressure, the ball's forced out, taken by Garlick. Runs to 50. Simon Garlick's going to take them all on. Simon Garlick, 30 metres out, runs to 25 and kicks a goal. Touched off the boot. Has it been touched? It's been touched off the boot. So disappointment there for Simon Garlick and the Bulldogs, because of fantastic passage of play with Simon Garlick backing himself in.
I hope he doesn't get near the ball quickly again. I think he might be out of puff here a bit, Simon Garlick. Gee, it was the most exciting passage of play for the day, wasn't it? Nearly caught here.
The two nearly lost his strides. The two Melbourne players nearly tackled each other.
Just off the fingertips.
So
it's a 1 point ball game.
It is. It's a terrific tussle between these two teams. Uze's kick in, the ball spills to the back. It'll be gathered here by Curley, who's been pretty good. Short kick, Footscray mark. Oh, well done by Luke Darcy. Got in the road there and allowed Garlick to take it. It's going to be a dog mark. Montgomery's got it. And Melbourne, who have held the ascendancy for most of the day, right down to the 18-minute mark of the last quarter, may see their lead wrenched away by this kick from Brett Montgomery. Kick the goal to bring the Dogs back to within reach here. Can he kick the goal to put Bulldogs in front? He has. Second goal to Brett Montgomery. And the Bulldogs, for the first time for, I'd say, quite a while, might be since the start of the game, they led early in the second quarter, but it's been a long time since then. They lead now by 5 points.
And what Neil Danaher wouldn't like was really, that was an uncontested mark at a vital time. And there he is, the coach. Well, Neil Danaher, he would not be impressed, as that mark was virtually uncontested. Now the Bulldogs would have the momentum here. Here's Rowan Smith, danger. Races in the goal, low trajectory kick, bends back, touch through for a behind. So the Demon supporters breathe a sigh of relief. The score now is 6 points the margin. There's Terry Wallace, who wouldn't have been happy with their first 3 quarters, but certainly they are getting on top at the moment. Matthew Phoebe drives it out here. Woden at the back. Grant put on a terrific contest there and forced the ball over the line. So throw in right in front of our commentary box, half forward for the Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs by 6 points. They trailed by 7 points at three-quarter time. White gets his hands on the ball. Shark that time by Collingwood around the corner. Inside 50. Uze under pressure. Montgomery's been a star in this final term. Shoved the ball out the crop. Gives it across to Elvey. His intentions were to centre the ball. Just couldn't bring it around enough. Puts it out.
Oh, Montgomery might be in strife here.
Giving a kick away.
So Montgomery has put Uze down. And the kick will go to Adam Uze. Montgomery's been so good in this final quarter with 2 goals.
It was terrible play. It was just stupid play by Brett Montgomery. I don't know what Uze did, but just undisciplined.
They were just wrestling.
Adam Uze. So a transfer of play. He's looking for Stephen Phoebe. Cook the chaser. Phoebe from the defensive 50 goes wide and it's been taken by Cowell. He plays on straight away, then shields his eyes from the sun, then comes into the shadows and kicks down towards the half-forward line. He's looking for down there. McDonald looked like he may have been held. And he's got the free kick.
Certainly a free kick.
Against Nathan Brown.
Held his jumper.
So the Demons trail by 6 points. The main goal kicker has been Mark Bradley with 2 goals for the Bulldogs. Multiple goal kickers, Chris Grant with 2 and Brent Montgomery with 2. James McDonald. Just indicating. He's going to kick the ball long. Gets good distance. This is going right to the line, off hands. Jeff White caught high as well. Forced through for a behind.
So another rush behind, right on the goal line there to the Demons. Brings it back to a 5-point margin. 56 plays 51. Dent with the football. Comes to the members' side and does it pretty well in the finish. Finds Garlick close to the boundary line. Gets past over the top. Weir's caught by McDonald. Gets the hand pass back. Well done in the finish because they looked as though they were going to get penalised maybe for being caught with the football, and eventually they're forced a boundary throw in just past the players' interchange area. Definitely 2 kicks, maybe 2.5 kicks from the Melbourne goal. 8-8 plays 7-9. Both teams have given their all. Luke Darcy's well tackled by Rigoni, and the umpire will call for a bounce right on centre wing. All players just having a real dip on behalf of their clubs. Neil Danaher, he still looks pretty relaxed, doesn't he? And
the feet up.
Tight situation, trying to just scrounge a goal to get his team back into the lead. McDonald has the football underneath that pack of 2 or 3 players, and the umpire will bounce.
So it's right on centre wing. There's the Bulldogs coach, the innovative Terry Wallace. Both sides came out before the game today and did a warm-up. Well before the game, then went back in the rooms. Jeff White put the head over the top. Luke Darcy trying to bend it back. Uze back to the flight of the ball. The loose ball is very important. Well done by Smith. A good fist put in at half forward here for the Bulldogs was by Grant. Well played by Croft. He's a very good player when he goes down forward. 60 metres from goal. Matthew Croft. Cook. Shanahan. Good play by Jamie Shanahan. But the ball back here with Elvey. Elvey tries to bend it back. It's across the face. Grant. Is it a mark? Umpire Vernon coming in and saying a mark, I think. Yes. Now, this is a vital kick in the context of this game. If I was Chris Grant, I'd be running out on the left foot and having a left foot snap. Here, Robbo.
Go back and do a check side.
I'd say a left foot snap coming up. What would you go for, Robbo?
Well, first of all, I don't reckon it was a mark. I don't reckon he controlled the ball. I reckon it was always a chance to slip out of his hands, and well, good fortune for the Bulldogs, I guess.
So Chris Grant, what will he do? He's going to the check side, as Robbo said. I still think he might kick it on the left foot, Robbo. There he is on. No, he handballs. He beat both of us. Left foot snap, marked on the line. In fact, not marked by Matthew Phoebe, and it comes off his fingertips and through for a behind. So I still think he should have had a left foot snap there.
I would have handballed it.
Oh, the first.
What a training.
Phoebe short to Seacamp. Back to Phoebe under pressure, runs smack bang into James Cook. Danger here for Melbourne. Stephen Phoebe. Again, Cook the chaser. Good tackle. Forces the error. And Chris Grant is marked. Good 80 metres out from goal. He's going to thump the ball inside 50. He's got Croft all by himself. Great vision there by Chris Grant. And Matthew Croft will be kicking from 40 metres directly in front. This to put the Bulldogs 2 goals up. Just over 7 minutes of action left in this last quarter. And terrific play by James Cook. He chased on 2 occasions and finally forced the kick to be a poor one and to be taken by Chris Grant. So now Matthew Croft directly in front, kicking down towards the Legends stand. There's a great camera shot there. Croft's kick is a poor one.
Back to the back line, Kevin.
Saw your leg off, Crofty there, calling out.
Back to the back line. You kicked it like a backman.
Could be an important point. 7 points up to the Bulldogs. 58 plays, 51. So take 2 for Phoebe.
Yes, Stephen Phoebe to kick it back in, goes close to the boundary line, but swooping on it. Oh, isn't he a great player? Now that's a sign of a tremendous footballer. Just the intensity, the desire. I've got to get at the contest. And then he just stretched up high and over the top and took the mark. Chris Grant, his 10th mark for the game. 2 very big goals in the third quarter. And the short kick has been taken there by Johnson. Got a bit of a knock on the back of the head from Stephen Tingay, but he'll be okay. Johnson still perhaps not within scoring distance, not quite. Take a 50-metre kick to score. Bulldogs lead by 7 points. They trailed by 17 at one stage in the third quarter. Good kick by Johnson. It's a Footscray mark.
Yep.
Darcy's got the ball in the goal square. He's been good since he came onto the ground, probably late in the second quarter, I think it may have been, and he's taken over the mantle of the leading ruckman. Scotty Wine having a spell on the bench, and Luke Darcy, well, he should kick a goal here and make the margin 13 points. We've got 6 minutes left. He's kicked the goal. So nearly out of reach, you would think now, for Melbourne. Bulldogs lead by 13 points with not quite 6 minutes left.
Well, I personally think the difference has been that Melbourne, as we see this kick from Johnson coming in, and we'll see Darcy take a very well-judged mark. The Bulldogs have looked like take a mark or 2 down forward with Grant in particular, but down the other end, Melbourne just can't take a mark. Well, difficult times for Melbourne now. They've controlled the game for, I reckon, 3/4 they were the better side, but the Bulldogs are a top side, and they are playing a terrific last quarter. That's Phoebe taking in towards White. Danny Southern just out bustled him, hipped him a little bit in mid-air and put him off balance. Now, Southern transfers play out here to the half-back line. He's got plenty of time. Martin, now he's gone. Cowell, can he recover? No, he can't, because Martin races after it, brings it around the boundary line to the racehorse Johnson. Brad Johnson, he's an exciting player. Second bounce. He can go again. 3. Will he go again? No. He'll chip it in short, and there's Grant again. So Grant has really showing his championship qualities here.
Johnson best on the ground.
He's been fantastic. A short pass. West, it wasn't actually meant for him. Tingay, the Melbourne players look very, very tight. Terrific smother by Montgomery. Strong tackle by Uze, and the umpire will bounce.
And there's Steve Collingwood, just suggesting he might have copped one on the head. 64 plays, 51. The Bulldogs 13 points in front. They've trailed at every change today. The Demons led by 5 points at quarter time, 11 points at half time, and 7 points at 3/4 time. They now trail by 13 points, and a free kick to the Bulldogs against Bradley. He's venting his anger. He's kicked a couple of goals since coming off the interchange bench.
Pretty ordinary free
kick.
He's
just gone into the ruck, and they've sent Jeff White down forward. So Luke Darcy has a chance to kick his second goal for the quarter. He'll be shooting from just outside of 50. So a pretty ragged first half by the Bulldogs. But they've just kept coming at Melbourne straight after half-time with Chris Grant playing a major role. This is going right to the square. Chance for the high fire, and he's got it. Speak of the champ, Chris Grant has taken a ripper.
Gee, there was a set play there, wasn't
It
it?
was.
He went back at every stage. You thought he was going to kick to the goal line, didn't you?
He didn't have a shot, did he,
No,
Robbo?
he just lobbed it
put
up.
it there where he saw Grant. No doubt about that.
Well, let's have a look at the champ here, because he is a magnificent player.
Would you have signed him up forever if you could, KB?
Well, I think a player of his calibre, you try and get his name on the bottom line.
There wouldn't be any doubt about it.
On a low-scoring game, he's going for his third goal since half-time. Chris Grant to seal this game for the Bulldogs. 20 metres out. I think he's missed. He has. So even the best of them can miss. Still holding his head, can't believe it.
I don't think anybody else here can.
Extends the margin to 14 points.
Pretty easy to miss that one, isn't it?
You never missed,
Oh,
didn't you?
come on.
Stephen Phoebe kicks the ball back into play, well outside his defensive 50. Bradley gets rid of his opponent. The ball knocked out of his arms. Underneath there is McDonald, tackled by West. The ball locked up, and the umpire will call for a bounce. It was umpire Grant Vernon that in Perth a couple of weeks ago, he was up and down like, as Dennis Cometti would say, a cork in the ocean. Every time he went near a ruck contest or a centre bounce clearance or whatever, he seemed to be in the road. He got knocked over about 3 times in the passage of the game. Kick back by Farmer. Collinute now under pressure. Good bump provided by McDonald, then to Matthew Phoebe. In turn to Seacamp. If Melbourne are to win this game, he's got to kick this goal. And it's a good kick. It's a beautiful kick. Good bit of play. Very good passage of play there by Melbourne. Just a bit of intensity on their behalf. Finishes with a goal to Seacamp.
Well, it keeps him in it, doesn't it, Robert? That was terrific play, and I like the way he balanced himself up. You can see here James McDonald giving it across to Matthew Phoebe. He has a bounce. I thought he should have run a little bit further, but he knew how far he could kick. Beautiful balance on the run and through the middle. They're back in it with a little chance. Well, that might have given the Melbourne players a bit of a sniff now. It's only 8 points. Out of the centre here is so important. Leon Challey gets in a hand pass. Farmer, can they get another one? The bounce. Here comes Melbourne. Robertson. Oh, McDonald, left foot. Yes! Oh, 2 goals to McDonald. Has this changed the game? We're back to 1 kick in it.
2 goals in 30 seconds to Melbourne. James McDonald's just booted his second goal. Plenty of time for Melbourne now.
And just a set of clearance ever so important now. Whoever wins this wins the game.
Well, the Bulldogs now just lead by 2 points, and there's McDonald putting it through after Chris Grant missed one from 15 metres out, and there's Terry Wallace. He'd be very anxious now. So a 2-point ball game. The Demons now with a chance. Darcy in the ruck, taken away by Farmer. Been very quiet for most of the game. Tumbles the ball back towards centre-half forward. At ground level, picked up, good play again by McDonald. Feeds the ball back. Here's Rigoni. Here's a long kick, thumps the ball long. Chance pushing and shoving Barry Lyon in the goal square. Thought he might have got a free kick. It's hit the post. There's Rigoni on screen.
Gee, a mark would have been handy then, wouldn't it?
Gary Lyon went to ground.
I think he felt he should have got it too.
To point the difference. 65 plays 64. Dent to bring the ball back into play. Just under 2 minutes left. Kicks the ball wide. It's looking for Bradley. Darcy's there as well. Thump to the front of the pack. Taken again by Rigoni. This time's been taken away by Nathan Brown. Tries to chip around the boundary line to West and finds him.
It was a good kick, Kevin. A very good kick in the situation.
Scotty West, a quiet day by his standards. Just the 9 possessions. Leon Chelly's done a pretty good job on him all day. Rigoni's also had a crack at different stages. The high fly at the back of the pack. Montgomery's booted a couple of goals inside 50. Runs to 30. This to win the game. Kicks a goal. Three goals to Montgomery, all coming in this final term. And he's one of those players, he's taken a couple of big marks, he's very good at ground level. And there's Scotty West, when he pumped the ball forward, a big pack of players, Cook went to ground, Grant did the shepherding, and on the burst, we see also a Melbourne player going down in Uze, who was the chaser. You can hear the Melbourne supporters booing in the background. But the goal is on the board, and it looks like the Bulldogs are safe.
Well, every time you say that, I know there's only just over a minute left, but the centre bounce is just so important. The teams can score so quickly.
They look safe.
That point that you mentioned before that was going to be important. I mean, Melbourne have got to go down and kick accurately for a starter, but then still the Bulldogs have that point to breathe. Handball, indiscriminate, chopped off by West. Brad Johnson will cap off a magnificent game here, won't he? Brad Johnson, BOG, goal. Just a great game by the number 6 for the Bulldogs. 2 goals. He's had something like 25 possessions. West, they're giving the congratulations to. The demon hand pass was inadvertent by Stephen Phoebe, and Scotty West set it up.
Yes, and there's Johnson racing away. He is a very talented player and very balanced player, and a long kick on the run. He's very happy about that. As Grant Vernon is about to bounce it again. Just under a minute of play left, so you wouldn't think they could score 2 goals to win the game. Young Bradley against Luke Darcy. It's out towards centre wing. Brown. West has had a very quiet game. Bending it back to the half-forward line. Grant, almost a mark, just couldn't quite grab it. Back it comes to Brown, who bends it back towards Cook, who's had a shocker. Back towards the Montgomery. Look at Grant, hooking it around the body. Fantastic snap. Goal to the champ. 4 goals, Chris Grant. Well, three goals, I think it is. He missed one from right in front as Cook flips it over the top. Strong tackle on Montgomery, but not strong enough to stop him getting in a hand pass to Grant. Grant hooks it back for his 3rd.
He's been such a good player, particularly since half-time. 12 marks today and 20 possessions. And you see Chris Grant on screen with 3 goals. Well backed up in this last quarter. Brilliant last quarter by Brett Montgomery, who's booted 3 goals. It's been a very brave Melbourne side today. They've led at every change, but the Bulldogs have been too strong in this final term. Matthew Phoebe to his brother and Stephen. Loose ball picked up by McDonald on 50. Another long bomb by McDonald. And this time, he's just shades the post for a behind.